Hi guys, my name is Gagandeep Singh and I am from Telis Automation. I'm here to configure the layer 3 Cisco switch interface using Ansible. So if you have Ansible machine or Ansible virtual machine even on Red Hat or Ansible operating system that supports Ansible, you can configure a layer 3 switch interface using the configuration that I'll be showing it to you. So first of all, let me show you my lab. It is a basic test lab, which is connected to my home Wi-Fi network and uh, it's in EVNG. And currently we have one layer 3 switch, which is connected to my Wi-Fi network, which actually is the management cloud and EVNG network, right? So next, if I see the if I show you the configuration, which is currently on my layer 3 switch, it has SSH enabled, which is actually the requirement for Ansible. So in order to access the device or access the layer 3 switch, Ansible needs the SSH permission to access this layer 3 switch, right? So let me show you the configuration. So we have the IP address 192.168.1.16 on our layer 3 switch Ethernet 0 by 0 interface, which is currently connected to my Wi-Fi network. And Ansible is also connected to the same Wi-Fi network. So first of all, the prerequisite, as I said, is a SSH connection enabled between Ansible and your switch or any network device, right? Which supports SSH, right? So let me check if I can SSH into the layer 3 switch, which is connected to the same network, or on which I want to like configure some other interfaces using Ansible. So the username is Cisco and the IP is 192.168.1.16. Okay. So let me enter the password. So I'm into the layer 3 switch now. So SSH is working between Ansible VM and my layer 3 switch in EVNG, right? Now I'm exiting out of this layer 3 switch and let's configure the inventory file, right? I have already configured my inventory file, which is under EDC, Ansible, and inventory directory. And the name of the inventory file is router in my end. Okay. So in this inventory file, I have some variables defined, like what is the host name of the layer 3 switch and what is the IP of the layer 3 switch that I want to configure. Then we have some variables like what is the Ansible network OS, what should Ansible expect on the switch that it would be configuring. So it's a Cisco iOS platform because it's a Cisco layer 3 switch. Then the username and password that I'm using is Cisco, and I'll be making the connection using network CLI, which is basically is telling you that I will be using SSH, right? So I'm exiting out of this file, and now I will start configuring the playbook, the main thing, right? Let's build the playbook. So I'm basically a nano guy. I like rarely use Y or Vim. Okay. So nano, and I'll configure the now the Ansible playbook, or I'll write the YAML document for and to configure switch interface. The name I will be using is conf interface dot YML. Okay, so we are in the YAML file. It's yet to be configured. So I'll start with the very basic thing, the three dashes. That denotes that this is the beginning of a YAML document, right? In the next tab, I will be using the name, right? The name I will be using is the name for this playbook. It describes the overall purpose of the playbook, which is to configure a Cisco switch interface in our end, right? So let's give it a name like configure Cisco switch interface. Cisco switch interface. Oh, sorry. Okay. So next thing is I'll be configuring hosts. The host name is the one that I have like already created in the inventory. Its name is router, right? So this specifies the target host for the playbook. In this case, the playbook will run on the host or a group of hosts which are defined as router in the Ansible inventory, right? That I already shown to you. Next is I'll add gather facts is equal to no. So this line disables fact gathering. By default, Ansible collects system information or facts about the target host, but here it is set to no because the task does not require this information, right? So next we will be like configuring our tasks, or we will be writing the YAML code for our tasks. Let's give it a name, configure interface with IP address, right? So this is the name of our task, right? It describes what the task will do, which is to configure an interface with an IP address, right? Next, we will be configuring the Ansible module cisco.ios.ios_config. This specifies the Ansible module to be used for the task, right? So cisco.ios.ios_config is a module that manages Cisco's iOS device configurations, right? Next, we will be adding the lines that we want to run on the Cisco's layer 3 switch interface, right? It's lines, sorry. I will be configuring interface Ethernet 0/2, right? And then no switch port is necessary because it's basically working in layer 2 mode by default. And to enable layer 3 or routed mode, we need to enable no switch port on this interface. So in order, or in other words, we can say that in order to configure the IP address on this interface, we need to like run this command no switch port. So now I will be configuring the IP address. Let's give it like 192.168.10.100 with a mask of /24. Right. Okay. And then we will be enabling the interface using the no shutdown command. Right. Okay. So this before command, this specifies, oh, actually it is not a command. It is like part of the YAML code. This specifies any prerequisite configuration commands that need to be run before the main configuration. In this case, it is used to ensure that the interface is properly selected before applying the new configurations, right? So what exactly is the prerequisite? Prerequisite is to enter the interface mode, right? Or Ethernet 0/2. So this interface Ethernet/2, this command is a prerequisite to ensure that the interface Ethernet 0/2 is in the correct mode before applying the configuration, right? So the last one that we need to run is save, right? Right. So this option specifies when to save the running configuration to the startup configuration. Here it is set to save the configuration only when there are changes, right? So in summary, this playbook configures a Cisco switch interface Ethernet 0/2 to operate in layer 3 mode with a specified IP address and ensures the interface is enabled. It uses the cisco.ios.ios_config module to apply the configuration commands and saves the configuration if any changes are made, right? So I'm saving this file right? And now I will check the switch configuration first, or the switch IP addresses first. So as you can see that we only have 192.168.1.16 on Ethernet 0/0, and we have nothing on Ethernet 0/2, and it is currently showing that IP address is unassigned and the port is admin down at the moment, right? Once again, I will try to check the inventory file, see if we have configured the proper host. Yeah, that's 192.168.1.16. So let's run the playbook. Ansible, I will make this like fetched. Okay. I want that you will be able to see all the Ansible playbook outputs, right? So Ansible playbook, then -I we uses for inventory. The inventory is routed, and then we will be using the playbook. Playbook name was config interface, conf_interface So I always like to use 4Vs for debug. Let's see what it does. Okay, so it has failed. Let me check why. So it has failed because of no switch port. Let me check if it is showing something. No, IP address is not configured. So let me do one thing. Let me go back to the interface configuration. Let me, okay, comment this line. Maybe I had a wrong image that I'm using on evng, and there is no like command, no switch port command required in this, right? So I'm saving this and let's check again. Okay, so it worked now. And as you can see, Ethernet 0/2 has changed its states to up. And let's check the IP address. So 192.168.10.100 has been configured now using Ansible, right? So I was actually using the wrong image. So in case you are using the layer 3 switch image, right? In that case, it's like better to use no switch port. I think mine one, it doesn't support no switch port, and I actually was using the router image. I might be using a router image, so it's my bad. So in your case, if you're using a layer 3 switch and you want to configure an interface, it's better to use no switch port. But if you're using a router, so in that case, there is no need to use no switch port in that case, right? So that's it from my side. Uh, in case you have any query related to this code or related to this YAML configuration, you can always comment, and or you can also contact us, right? For any queries related to network automation or like related to anything in network, related to routing, security, automation, right? Thanks a lot. And thanks a lot from Keyless Automation. Goodbye.